We are on the internet, and I think that burp might have been the first thing everybody heard.
Hey,
What a great way to start.
Well,
Hey, let me just kind of introduce for anybody that jumps on. My name's Isaiah. This is Ben. That is Devin, and that over there.
Don't wave.
He over there is Josh. We with
Hi.
with no promotion whatsoever have decided to start a podcast where primarily we're just going to talk about the things that have interested us throughout the week. And so these are three of my best friends, and we figured why not. Ben, what are you drinking?
Topo Chico with lime. The hierarchy of things goes Topo Chico lime, and then bottled water, and then filter tap water, and then gutter water, and then way off screen is LaCroix. So
Pellegrino's not bad. Yeah. Topo's into the seltzer game.
Who?
Topo. They're getting into the seltzer game with
like the hard seltzer game or just the regular seltzer?
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
They're already in the seltzer game. The hard seltzer game.
Gotcha. That's a weird market that's come up.
Yeah, I think it's the health consciousness.
Is it really that health conscious though?
Yeah, I mean it's like 80 calories as opposed to like 200 for a regular.
You know what's less calories? Just drinking water.
Yeah, but a sugar-free Red Bull has like 10 calories.
Is that your
But it also has a lot of stuff that'll probably give you
Whoa. Hey, you just talked about calories. That was all. Rebecca says LaCroix is the millennial's choice, you traitor.
No, I think Topo Chico is. I'm with Ben.
Woo!
I just like water regular.
Every like conference that I would go to for like college ministry or anything like that, like you could tell how hipster they were or weren't based on if they had Topo Chico on ice.
Wow.
And then like I don't know. Ben, how much does like the lime elevate Topo Chico, or is it just that's the one you have today?
Oh, I wouldn't drink just regular flavorless Topo Chico. I'm not a godless heathen. No. Like the lime. Like there have been many times I've gone to the store and they were out of lime. I was like, oh no, what do I do? And then I had to reduce myself to getting it with the grapefruit flavor. I'm like, this feels like selling out. But okay.
Now, do you add a lime to it, almost like it's a Corona or something?
I could, but that's the beauty of Twist of Lime. I don't have to. So
better, it really does.
Speaking of Twist of Lime, those are still like my favorite tortilla chips. The Totinos or Tostinos,
yes.
Tostitos hint of lime.
The hint of lime.
Yeah, it's like Chipotle chips, the bomb. That lime salt on there.
Yes.
There's this HEB brand, I forget the name. It's a Spanish word that I'm sure means like chips dummy, but like they are amazing.
We don't have HEB up here, Isaiah.
Yeah, we do.
Don't remind me.
The irony that Hurst Euless Bedford doesn't have an HEB.
Yeah, I know, right? What a missed opportunity there.
No kidding.
Whenever MySpace was a thing, I started a group page called like it was as a petition, like get HEB and HEB.
Wow, that didn't age well.
No.
A few things didn't age well on that.
Yeah.
And one of them being that if this is on Facebook and you just name dropped MySpace, then we might get shut down ASAP.
Yeah. Nah, did you hold like cool. a protest at a Blockbuster too?
No, with Blockbusters, whenever Blockbusters went out, they were selling, they started like fire sailing everything. And they had for like 5 cents a piece, the DVD like box art, the little like insert slides that they would put. I bought thousands of those things. Or that's an exaggeration, but definitely hundreds, to where I was able to like line the biggest wall in my room with them as almost like a wallpaper. I did like my hallway. It was a total like bachelor thing to do, like in my apartment, because I would never do that. Rebecca wouldn't let me do that in the house today. But
right, so, I think common sense wouldn't let you do it. But
God bless
you're
Rebecca.
The owner of Blockbuster.
Yeah,
I think it takes you to just bite the bullet and sign up for Netflix. I saw back on MySpace. I saw a thing a couple years ago that Tom from MySpace had a Facebook page. That must have been crushing.
I think I think MySpace to Facebook would have been less of a bullet to bite than like Blockbuster and Netflix. I mean, that's literally the company that bankrupted you guys. There's still a place for MySpace today. It's primarily with like music, I think.
But there's not a place for everybody to be Tom's friend
Fair enough.
Have him in your top 8.
like the old days.
Oh,
Yeah.
tops. Oh my gosh. The pettiness.
Well, then
Well, and it was
Oh.
like, and so the way you would do it, so you didn't have to make a decision. You would have like top 32.
yeah, you could like edit your own HTML back then, and you could like make it like I had a top 64 at one point.
I had a top 8, so you would
Like
know.
the NCAA tournament.
Uh-huh.
No,
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
top
I
8
remember more people using letters in their top 8 so that they could spell various vulgar phrases as their top 8 friends. That's what I remember the top 8 mostly about.
I don't think
My
I
mom-
remember that.
My mom just posted in the comments. She said it looks like I have long hair because of this chair. I was like, no. I mean, I do have long hair right now, but that's just my chair.
not that long.
Not quite audio flow like it would be with the chair.
Devin, did you watch the basketball game last night?
I did. Yes, I did.
It was like, it was,
fan. LeBron coming in clutch, shut down Kawhi at the end twice actually, and he shut down Paul George, and he scored the go-ahead basket to take the game.
I won $8 on FanDuel yesterday
Did you really?
because of that game.
Wow.
Yeah, like not the
I didn't know you were a
sports books.
degenerate gambler, Isaiah.
No, well, so here's what happened is I was listening to Pat McAfee yesterday. He had Papa Meeks on, the guy who plays all that Madden. He's like the #1 Madden creator. He had him on, and they were talking about how they've got partnerships with FanDuel now to where they've convinced FanDuel to do team betting. The premise is that, like, so there's a spread, right, for the game, and FanDuel will like green light a game that if, hey, Will says what's up, party people. Will Welch.
Hey.
Oh, well.
What up? What up?
Emily Gibson said HEB deserves an HEB. I agree. But what they'll do is so like there's this spread, and I think it was like LA, or I think it was Lakers -4 yesterday or something like that, right? And then what they'll do is like they'll agree for every like 2,500 people that bet on the game, they would increase the spread in LA in the Lakers' favor by a point. They got that sucker up to like +20, so it's almost a shoo-in, right? It's literally FanDuel loses millions on this, but like it gets people in and stuff like that. So they've got deals with these stars that are pushing this stuff. But it was cool because like, so I was like, well, that sounds like a pretty surefire bet. Like,
Well, have any of y'all seen Uncut Gems?
Yes.
no.
Wow.
Okay,
No.
Devin has. Isaiah and Ben, I've recommended this multiple times. It personally hurts me that you still haven't seen it. But if Uncut Gems has taught me anything, it's that betting on basketball is a very, very bad idea. I'll just leave it at that. Right, Devin?
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, I had the ending spoiled for me.
That movie,
Yeah.
I think my blood pressure went up 30, probably
Oh,
30 points just watching that movie. If you call blood pressure points, I don't know what you would call it, but
So what?
I think they call them
Fucking
goals. It's like
training to be
soccer.
an
goals,
EMT
yeah,
for a
30
while.
goals.
Yeah, 30. Wow, that's a lot. That's like 10 hat tricks of blood
Huh?
pressures. Yeah. Because
But what happened? So I went on. I was like, that sounds like a somewhat sure. I was just curious, like how far they'd gotten the spread up to. So I downloaded it. Well, guess what? You can't do in Texas still.
I was
Can't
about to
do
say, did you use
online
the
sports
VPN?
betting. No, I didn't use it because I'm not. I didn't care that much to go and like do like a NordVPN to put myself in Indiana or something and make the bet. But you can still do like the FanDuel app where you like kind of like fantasy sports, like the daily fantasy sports stuff where you pick a lineup. And so like I downloaded the app to do the account because I was going to try to bet on the game, and then it gave me a free play for like the NBA 3 million, where they just literally every day they disperse like $3 million amongst all the prize winners, and I had a good enough lineup to win like $7.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you did the daily.
wow,
fantasy
that's
football.
almost a Whataburger. Congratulations.
I know, right?
That's
Yeah, but
awesome.
it's like
One for
6
one, though.
McChickens.
Oh, that's right.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, because we had like, and I'm curious because I haven't watched any of the basketball games, Devin, but like when it's with all the sports that are going, like I've been following all the baseball stuff. Like, how was the game last night with all the bubble stuff?
So, I mean, I know that the whole policy of the bubble, like there was a player for the Clippers named Lou Williams who he got caught leaving the bubble to go to a strip club, and he got put on mandatory like 10-day quarantine. Like if you step out, you're locked up. I'm assuming in your hotel room for 10 days. There was another guy who's just lesser known, kind of a bench player before even the kind of little preseason games they had, that he like apparently stepped over the line to like grab his Uber Eats, and they were like, "Hey,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
the rule's the rule. You're shut down
Dang.
for 10 days." And so this will be an interesting experiment to see if anybody ruins it. But as far as the game itself last night, I thought it was pretty good, especially with the production value of it. It's not too weird. So they implement, I'm assuming they use like the 2K fan noise into the game. I think they're doing the same thing with some of the MLB games. Can y'all confirm that? They're using
Yes, they're even using virtual
crowd noise.
fans at MLB games.
No,
and
they're
it's
using
very
cardboard
weird.
cutouts.
Yeah, so
No, but they're using
NBA
Fox is doing virtual fans as well, and all they do is like adjust their elbows the whole time.
Yeah,
it's like
so
really
with
creepy.
NBA, it's the same thing. I'm sure you have to pay to like get a spot, but it was like the cardboard cutouts, except it was people on their Zoom. So it's just people like watching the game, but like you can see them off in like these fake like chairs on this screen in the background.
Yeah, why would you want to be that person though? I hate the idea of people
Maybe
can
it's
always
not that
see
you
me in a
would-
Zoom. I can't imagine a 2.5-hour basketball game.
Well, they're
Maybe
probably getting like free viewing rights to games that aren't in their area. Like, I don't know what is it, because they're all in one place. They're all in Florida.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
so-
Orlando, I think, or it's Disneyland or Disney World, whichever.
Yeah,
one you want.
it's in
Disney
Orlando.
World's in Florida.
Yeah.
Disney
I
World. Side note,
never get
way
those.
better.
Oh, so much better. Yeah.
Will Welch says it legit looks like Wii Sports fans.
Oh, I'm not
Does.
a sports fan.
Fair
I've
enough.
actually been sitting here doodling Mr. DNA from Jurassic Park. And because this really doesn't pertain to me super much. If you know who Mr. DNA is, then you're one of the real ones. Jurassic Park's the
That's
best.
actually
So-
a pretty good drawing. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
your
I
art-
like how you said that. Like Jurassic Park, some indie movie that only a few
So
people would get a
Mr. DNA
casual
from Jurassic
reference
Park's
to.
a little obscure though.
He's the one who tells us about how the dinosaurs were made.
Yeah, for like 2 minutes. Fine, Mr. DNA is a pop culture icon, and I just drew him. How about that?
Yeah, him and Mr.
Yeah, I
Poopy
got
Butthole
so
right
much.
next to each other.
Me and Ben talked about it like 2 years ago, and I'm still semi-serious about it, like getting it tattooed on like my inner thigh or something. You know, somewhere where it'd be super visible, but just for the
Yeah.
nostalgia purposes.
I get that.
You're gonna get paparazzi. Someone's gonna catch a picture of it, and it'll just be for. It doesn't matter where you put it.
Well, hey, to put a cap on the NBA thing, I can't wait for the Lakers to win the championship this year, because you know how after a team wins a championship, they'll come out with the documentary about that season. You know, your 2020 NBA champs or whatever. If the Lakers
Mhm.
win this year, it's going to be the best one of all time.
Hold
Because
up.
it'll be one. Okay.
You are assuming a
Yes.
great fairy tale ending in the year 2020?
Yes.
He's expecting the documentary to be awesome.
That's
That's
my
a big
optimism. Because one, they got to do it for Kobe. And then that was already the narrative. Like they've got the team for it this year. LeBron's still the best
Dude,
player
that
in
was
the world.
this year. Doesn't that seem like forever ago?
I know,
Kobe
right? It does.
died.
It does, yeah. Wow, you know what? Everything was better back then. It just was. Anyway, but yeah, if they win it, man, just like you're gonna have the Kobe story. You're gonna have obviously the team wants to win it for Kobe. It's gonna be LeBron's first title as a Laker. And then you're gonna have everything that happened with the COVID shutdown, everything that happened with the George Floyd riots, and just all of that as something to overcome. It'll be the greatest documentary on sports of all time.
So do you think that the
Above
base?
Last Dance, I'll say.
Do you think? Oh, hold on.
Last
Yeah.
Dance is pretty sweet.
It was pretty
Do
simple.
you think that the NBA season's gonna like be able to make it through though? Because like it
Oh,
seems like
I-
the bubble's working.
I hope so. Yeah, it does seem like the bubble's working. And I mean, I think it's got a better shot than the MLB, because when players break
Yes.
the rules, they're like, hey, I don't care who you are, you're isolated for 10 days. And so, I mean, because Lou Williams is like a pretty important player for the Clippers. He's not Kawhi Leonard, but he's a fairly important player. And they said, hey, no slack.
So you mentioned MLB. One of the things that like is I've been trying to follow that because I mean I like baseball. I want to see baseball happen, but like I was gonna talk about how did you guys see all the outbreak that the Marlins had? They're up to like 19 or
Yeah.
20 people.
Yeah, it was the
Like,
nobody
Marlins,
pushes.
then the Phillies, now the Cardinals.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about the Phillies because they had to cancel their series against the Blue Jays, who are now stuck in Washington because they're like, well, we're not going to Philly.
I'm trying to follow that because I mean,
I like baseball. I want to see baseball happen.
Why,
But, like,
why are we getting
they're
delayed
talking
audio
about-
overlaid?
I don't
Are y'all
know.
getting that too?
Yeah.
That the Marlins had. They're up to like 19 or
Yeah.
20 people.
Yeah, it was the
Like,
Marlins and the Phillies.
Who has
and
their-
the Cardinals.
Who's
Oh,
playing
I
that?
was watching on Facebook.
That's
Sorry.
Oh my gosh, Ben!
Oh,
All of the meetings and talks that we had about doing this stupid show that 5 people will watch and doing it right, and you
That's-
within 10 minutes screw up everything and make us look even
that's
stupider than we
how
already
kicked out I
look.
was with the conversation about sports again.
Oh, man,
Okay,
yeah.
so what I was saying is that, like, I mean, they've botched the whole thing. Like, they're having to redo series. Like, it was like they just started up a different random series, but like, I don't know. It just seems like they're not going to be able to do it. Like, they're supposed to be going 60 games. Do you guys think they're going to make it? Kevin Parker says he thinks hockey and basketball have the best chance of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Has
don't
hockey
see
even
them
started?
finishing.
I mean, I can't say
Well,
I keep
hockey-
up with hockey. at
Hockey's
all,
doing a
really.
bubble thing too up in Canada, I believe.
Now, with baseball, if the MLB can just, I guess, claw their way through this season we know this is just going to continue to happen. And you're going to have to cancel series, and I don't know when they're going to be able to make them up. But if they can get to a point in the season where they say, hey, we have our playoff teams, I think the only way to finish the playoffs is to do a bubble thing. Because you can't, if you're in a playoff series,
Yeah.
you can't just cancel a series like you can regular season.
I think they've already decided. I think the MLBPA and the league have already decided what playoffs are going to look like. I'm not sure what it is.
I think
I
they're
think
going
they've
to
already-
have an emergency adjustment on that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they are
Uh,
not doing so hot.
For anybody who cares,
Stars.
August 3rd is the first Dallas Stars game, so it starts this next week.
Nobody does care, but
Whoa,
thank
whoa,
you.
whoa!
dude, I'm
Not true.
sorry. We're in
Okay.
Dallas and it's hockey. I mean,
I'm with Josh.
my roommate from Philadelphia watches the Flyers, but other
You-
hey, am I off mute now?
Yes.
Wow, we were not told about the authoritarian structure of this show coming in.
I just want you to know that we dropped from like 16 to 10 viewers as soon as you bashed the Stars. So
Way to go, Josh.
Sorry, I
Uh,
killed such a vibrant and growing entertainment program.
no, so okay, but the biggest question then, I think we can all agree to some level, even Ben, like, because right now the NFL seems like they're going to try to do more what baseball's doing as opposed to what
Yeah.
MLS, NBA, NHL are doing. Like, does football have a chance? Because here's if it doesn't, here's what I'm going to do. As a video game streamer, I'm going to simulate all of the games on Madden, just host watch parties. But do you guys think that NFL has a chance of playing this year?
I think it could be even more of a train wreck than baseball.
Yes.
Because, I mean, in baseball, you've got like your ace pitcher. So if Clayton Kershaw all of a sudden gets it and he's out for his next 2 starts, that's a big deal. But it's not as big deal as if, Pat Mahomes gets COVID or your entire offensive line gets COVID. So now you're having to run out backup offensive linemen and maybe a couple of tight ends and maybe a nose tackle in there to play guard. Just basically piece together who you can. I mean,
Side note,
Not to
he was
mention the difference in roster sizes. Major League
Exactly.
Baseball has 26 people on the roster. The NBA has 12. NFL's 53, not to mention how they have way more coaches. So
That
the
and-
odds of one person in the organization getting it is pretty good.
the position flex of baseball too. I mean, all of the guys in the infield can play every single position out there and the outfield, most of them. And it's not as big of a difference for an outfielder to
bigger.
come in
Yeah.
and play, second base than for a defensive tackle to say, hey, now do the opposite of what you normally do and try to stop the opposing team's defense.
It's a bigger
You're all
difference for
flat.
football, but
Yeah.
an outfielder playing second base, if we actually saw that in a Major League Baseball game, we'd be shocked at how terrible they were.
No, Devin was saying the switch. He was saying that infielders can probably play outfield.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's more likely. Yeah.
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 So
like I don't think the center fielder could come in and play shortstop. I mean, there's probably some that can, but that would be
Not to mention you have minor leagues, which aren't going on right now, but you know that they're ready to call one of those people up and be like, hey, we need you to sub in for a week.
yeah.
last thing, did you guys see what Joe Kelly got hit with?
Yeah.
No. What did he get hit?
So he just straight threw gas at the Astros' head.
Oh, I saw it. It was hilarious.
So yeah,
And then
Manfred,
struck him out.
and did you see him just jaw jacking on the way? He's like, "Shut up, go."
Yeah,
to
and he
bed."
did.
Dude, he made like the stupidest faces, and yeah.
But he got hit with an 8-game suspension.
Was it 8
Wow.
games?
On a
8
60 game season?
Yeah, that's
Well,
longer.
but is he a
That's
relief pitcher?
Crazy.
That's no, he's the starting pitcher.
Oh, well, so he misses a start. So that's
Yeah,
not a
that's
big
the thing.
deal.
Is it 8 games or is it 8 days?
I don't know. I think it ends up. I think it's 8 of his games. I'm not sure
8
exactly.
games.
The
that is-
point.
No. When they suspend a pitcher, they cannot use them for 8 games. It's the same thing. But if he's a
Right.
starter,
Oh, yeah.
he's only pitching just over once a week anyway, so he'll miss a start. That's
It's
Yeah,
not
that's
eight
still-
starts.
That's still a sixth of the season almost.
yeah, but it's
But here was the thing that that suspension is higher than any Astros player got suspended.
Yeah, which is any.
I understand it though,
Right.
because you have to get it under control so it's not just open season on the Astros.
They
I-
stole the World
I
Series.
agree.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a little overblown. I'm not gonna. First of all, there was no rule against what they were doing. Okay, I can see them establishing a rule, but I think that the draconian measures taken are a little severe, especially since nothing what they did was technically illegal.
Cheating is cheating.
Not if there's literally not a rule. You doing something that there isn't
So-
a rule against.
but-
this
so the
isn't
thing is,
Soviet
though-
Russia, Devin. Okay, baseball is an American game.
Kelly's actually a reliever. I'm sorry. They should have
Okay,
just come out and said that. Been like, hey, there's no rule about it. We'll stop doing it if you make the rule. Instead, they tried to defend it because they knew what they did was wrong. Josh,
did-
they
yeah.
knew what they did was wrong.
Altuve struck out on a full count, and somebody in baseball tweeted at him, "A lot harder guessing than knowing, isn't it, Altuve?"
It's funny. Like, here's the thing: is that I do think I don't think anybody would have willed any of the stuff going on in the country right now. However, I think they were hoping that a byproduct of it would be that everyone just forgot what they did. Because I did.
You Joe Kelly.
Yeah, same.
Not yet.
I wasn't even thinking about it, and then Joe Kelly was like, "Nope, not me."
Yeah.
And so
That was
But-
the narrative, like when spring training was first starting before all the COVID shutdown hit. Was how many people are gonna throw at the Astros?
I loved how they had people were coming to like the preseason games or whatever it was with like trash cans and stuff and signs, and they kept having to like pull them up and stuff.
Awesome.
So regarding entertainment, though, like Josh, one of the things that you had mentioned wanting to talk about this week was like what's going on in Nevada with with the ruling with the Supreme Court and some of the churches and all that stuff that happened out there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a little bit. Like what's the deal out there? Because I know like casinos and all that kind of stuff, all the entertainment stuff was like the rule was 50%. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's 50% capacity with social distancing. So basically what's happened is obviously we know that there's different kinds of restrictions going on public places all over the country, just depending on the state. Am I coming through there? I'm getting a little bit of a delay on the
Yeah, just
screen
go ahead and
here.
go.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. Just want to check on that. But in Nevada, the government decided that casinos and movie theaters could open up at 50% with social distancing, but they're still not allowing churches to gather. So this was challenged in the Supreme Court, and Nevada was actually upheld 5-4 by the justices with some. I think all 4 judges who voted in favor of the church, I think they all published a dissent. So it's a pretty.
I read them.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. And so this is a little different than some of the debate earlier has been, should churches meet, like how much right does a state have to close down a church, which I think that we're kind of, just in talking with y'all, we're kind of all on the same page, is that like, if the government shuts everybody down, then it's understandable that a church would be shut down. But this was a line that many Christian leaders had said, now, if you start opening similar places, but not opening churches, that's not tolerable.
So that's not fully accurate in just one regard, that churches were allowed to meet, but no more than 50 people. And so churches were open in Nevada, but they were asking for it to be an equal treatment as they were these other business. Just one caveat to what you're saying. Churches
No, that's a
were
good
allowed,
point. Yeah.
but only 50 people allowed.
Right. But that means that, the vast majority of churches are not meeting. So technically, yes, they were allowed to open. Practically, they were closed and not given equal treatment. So what do you guys think about that, though? Like, because to me, that's an unacceptable thing. Like, it's one thing if everything's closed, understood. But if you give favoritism to casinos and movie theaters and entertainment places, I don't understand. Like, to me, that's unacceptable to do that and still not let churches meet at 50%. So what do you guys think on that?
Ben, cue your lemon grab impression.
It's gonna be loud. All right.
Do it.
Unacceptable!
I don't know what's happening.
Zoom has a noise gate and it cuts you out, I think.
Thank God for that.
My 2 cents on it was
No
like,
kidding.
Joshua, what you had said, like I think with some of the people I talked to, like it probably would have been like a line crossed for me in regards to like if I was leading a church. I don't know, just like I didn't love the decision by any means, and I think that there are some things to be wary of moving forward. But like the thing that I don't know, there's a part of me though that feels like we also get a lot of special treatment in some of the other things that I've seen happen. And so in regards to like everything else that was getting shut down, like the bars and stuff here in Texas, but it's like, but places of worship had, exemptions, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
But like that, there's just that kind of like, it didn't make it necessarily the biggest thing in the world to me. But the more I thought about it, I was like, ooh, but if that would have happened here, like I probably would have been a little frustrated, if I'm honest.
Yeah, there is a state to state difference. And so it doesn't hit home, I guess, for us quite as much as it would if we lived in Nevada.
Yeah, but my issue, and like I get what you're saying on like, because like in Texas, churches have certainly been giving exemptions that other businesses or public meeting places haven't been given. But I don't think that's necessarily fair to those other meeting places. So like to me, if I was, and that's why like some bars are challenging, like in Texas right now, the governor's executive orders, and I think they've got some good reasons to do that. Yeah. It certainly doesn't have any merit either way, though, on the decision in Nevada. But to be clear, I want to say I don't think that any of this is like the evil state conspiring against the church. I think that the Nevada governor wants to look like they're taking a hard stance on, closing things down during COVID, but says casinos are really important to us, so we're going to make an exception here. I think it's an unacceptable exception, but I don't think it's malicious in intent towards churches. It's just plain unfair. Does that make sense?
I would say that it seems more political no matter which state. Like each governor is basically trying to play to a base in the way that they try to open their state back up.
Yeah,
we're a red state, and so I think it makes complete sense that Abbott would try to play towards the base. Now, I'm not saying what right or wrong on that. I'm saying I can just see why Abbott focused on certain things that he did. And so to that end, I would feel like the governor of Nevada would probably be doing that similarly, that his base probably is not necessarily this evangelical group. Like he's probably playing towards the more economic aspects of his state. And so, yeah, he's going to probably give preferential treatment towards the casinos. But I would probably echo what you say, Josh, that it would not be so problematic if it was just all things being equal. Like, okay, there's a group of this many people being able to meet. Surely you should be able to allow them to meet just as much as someone else, especially if you've got the president stating that places of worship are essential, And so I think that those who are probably trying to say that this is an attack on religious liberty in totality, I think that's probably too far. I don't see it as that, because no one's saying that it is now unlawful for you to identify as that belief or as that as in that religion. It's just simply trying to pick and choose what things that they actually think are important to meet in. And for a lot of state officials, I would just say that they just truly don't believe, based off of who votes for them, that churchgoers are that important group. So, but Dave Ramsey once said that people make decisions based off of money because their hearts are in their wallets. And so anything that these state officials are doing in regards to what they open and close, one of the main things they're going to think about is, how does this affect the wallets of the people who are going to vote for me? Because if it affects their wallets, it's going to affect my vote. And so I just see that's what he's doing in his state's case.
Did anybody see Ben quoting Dave Ramsey before C.S. Lewis on this show? Because I would have never guessed that. I thought we would got 5 C.S. Lewis quotes before anything else.
Yeah.
Before we get too far from it, there was a joke in the comments. Jamie Pippin said that we just bring slots to the church and open it up, take 20% of all the winnings.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome. We never have to worry about tithing again.
That makes an important point, though. That makes an important point. So to piggyback off of what Josh and Ben said, I think we have to, it's important to note the kind of defining the terms of what is essential. Now, I know there's a lot of political pandering that goes on, but when we're talking about the word essential, we're not talking about like essential to life or essential to happiness. This is purely in the context of what is essential to keeping the economy open. So specifically for the state of Nevada, I know a lot of very conservative churchgoers are like, how are you going to tell me that a liquor store or a casino are more essential than the church? Well, to Nevada's economy, those casinos bring in a lot of money and it's taxed. Churches, because one of the blessings that we get to have as churches is that we are tax exempt. And so therefore, I think if we weren't tax exempt, there would probably be a whole different argument in the state of Nevada on churches being open, because they would see it as essential to the economy. And say we're getting out of that.
You don't agree with that, Josh? What do you think?
No, because casinos are a main driving force of the economy. No, and we don't have nonprofit we don't avoid taxes by virtue of us being churches, but as being a nonprofit, that's just an American standard for institutions that are charitable in nature. And no charitable endeavor, especially if taxed, but certainly not now, would ever be a major revenue driver for anything.
Major.
So I still don't think, I think that the main thing is that the governor in Nevada just wants to take a hard stance on COVID, but is like, man, we cannot, for economic reasons, which I do agree with you on that, that I've got to try and open up casinos, even if this looks inconsistent. So that's the only thing. I don't think that any kind of change in the church's status would have, because it's never going to be an economic driver for anything. It's a charity, whether taxed or not.
It's crazy. So Josh, I mean, this really grabbed your attention. We've talked about it a couple times this week. I mean, where does it go from here, do you think?
Where, as a nation,
I don't know.
The church thing? I think state by state, if you look at how certain churches are sort of responding to any limitations on their gathering, that you are going to end up, depending on how the church gathers, they may be counterintuitive to their own opening back up. And here's what I mean by that. So John MacArthur, a lot of people are either super big fans of him right now, or they're really mad at him presently, because he, from what I understand, his church gathered on Sunday in defiance of the regulations that were being put on gatherings, right? Whereas Nevada, was it Calvary Chapel, which is the name of the church that was named in question with the Supreme Court ruling, they were going to go beyond the social distancing guidelines that had been put forth by the state. So they're like, we want to gather, and we want to even be safer than the casinos are going to be right now. So for that, I think that that's absolutely unfair that, given the efforts that they were going to go towards, that they still weren't allowed to open. But then you've got John MacArthur's church that is having this huge packed out service, and a majority of the people sitting in the pews aren't even wearing masks. And then he tries to minimize the problem of COVID by mentioning the statistics of all the other people who have died due to other bigger things. But that's not a good logical argument. Like, he mentioned abortion, and he mentioned the number of people who've died due to abortion since Roe v. Wade. But if I had mentioned heart disease or cancer as a way to try to sidestep that, we wouldn't consider that to be a fair argument. That doesn't mean that this is not an issue. It just means that you have mentioned another issue that probably needs to be addressed as well. And so the way that MacArthur went about it as a way of sort of trying to minimize the problem, that doesn't seem like a way that's really going to build a whole lot of sympathy for the opening back up for churches. And because and it's also a bit of a disservice and an insult to all those people who did die or had loved ones who did die. So I think we just passed like, I was 150,000 in the United States. That is 150,000 people and 150,000 people's loved ones who you have just said do not matter in the grand scheme of things because you want to meet. And that seems largely insulting and not very pro-life to me at all. And so I think the church's response to those limitations is going to impact how soon they may open back up again and how much people have sympathy for them. I have much sympathy for the Nevada church because of what they wanted to do and how they were wanting to do it. But if you're trying to be minimizing the problem rather than trying to come alongside and find the solution, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult road ahead, in my personal opinion.
Josh, you cut out there for a second before. What do you think about that? And then what were you going to say earlier?
Well, yeah, I was actually going to bring that up because here's what I'd like to get your thoughts on. Can are y'all getting this at all?
Yeah,
I pause
keep going.
again.
Hear you.
Let
You're doing really
okay. As long as you're hearing me.
Okay.
Yeah, my internet is the worst. So I sympathize with churches in California, which they're not like everything's closed in California right now. So it's not the same as Nevada. But what I'd want to ask y'all is like, obviously the stance that MacArthur's church is taking is one of civil disobedience, saying as a matter of conscience, we're not going to do this. So I'm kind of with you, Ben, right now. I don't know if that's the wisest thing to do right now, certainly not the most sympathetic, but how far or how long would things have to be closed down before you took the stance of forget what the government says, we have to meet as a church?
That's an interesting question. I haven't even, what would be, are you just talking purely in length of like things being shut down, like restrictions?
Yeah. So like, I didn't think about this until MacArthur's, but like, you know, we've been able to meet for months now. And so I've enjoyed that. My church has been safe, but like, how far would it have to go for you personally to say, hey, I don't care what the government says. We're going to try and do this safely, but we have to do it.
There's like my initial gut reaction, Devin, sorry, I'll let you go right after this. My initial gut reaction is like, I haven't thought about that because like, I don't know if I, you know, like for me, like the desire to like go against what the government would say would be if I felt like it was something like an attack, or you know, if there was something just wrong happening. If it's the country going through this prolonged if everyone's struggling, I feel like my gut reaction is to say like, man, well, as long as we're all going through this, like the church is going to have to, you know, ebb and flow in regards to meeting in our buildings. Like if there's not a factor of like wrongdoing being done, I don't know if I ever get to the point where I'm just like uproot it, you know, or just like, or bypass it then.
So to take that to the extreme, and I know this would sound absurd, but say things stay like things stay like they are in California for 5 years. You see yourself at any point during 5 years saying, all right, this is enough.
Well, at that point,
I don't think that's a fair argument. I mean, I think it's
not an argument. It's a mental exercise. Yeah. So like
it's not necessarily
5 years
the amount of time as it is how much more we learn about the virus and how much circumstances change.
My answer to your question, Josh, like at that point, I assume I assume things like the home church and all that stuff have now begun to start taking off, and like we've just totally uprooted what we know as American church at that point. Like if we're at 5 years, like I don't think I'm fighting getting back into my building at that point. I think we've had to flex, we've had to pivot.
So y'all really don't think that any part of you would say, all right, this is enough at any point? Well, I'm not trying to encourage anti-government sentiment or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, do we really think that, like, you guys just seem so readily able to say, oh, I wouldn't do anything about that.
No,
My thoughts
no,
wouldn't change at all.
no. I mean, obviously, like we're human. Like my desire to still go out and like eat in public without a mask, or like go somewhere without a mask right now, like would still exist. So that desire, because it's an inconvenience for sure. I would hope that as like a vocational minister of the gospel, that I wouldn't take that, like I that's what I would hope happens. You know. But yeah, like it would suck. But I hope that I wouldn't reach that point. If I did, it more than likely I'm getting just out of ministry instead of at that point. But anyway,
Yeah,
For
I think
me,
I
it would go ahead, Ben.
no, I was just going to go with what you were saying, Devin, that you would have to look at the context surrounding things. So
Yeah.
you're talking 5 years from now, or whatever mental exercise you want to give. I think that's a little too nebulous, because you have to look at what all the other circumstances going on that's not allowing people to meet, and is the church the one being singled out in that. So you look at
Yeah.
Nevada's case, perhaps, and let's put that on steroids, and let's say everything in society and the economy was able to meet again, but the church and maybe not even just churches, synagogues, mosques, not allowed to meet.
Mhm.
It seems like religious organizations were the ones being singled out. At that point, I could totally see, this movement towards a civil disobedience, but that's not what I saw in California. Like you said, everything was shut down, and they, in civil disobedience, felt like they should be exempt from that same sort of situation. And so if it were like that seemed like the church was being singled out, or faith and religion was being singled out, then I would totally see that, need for some sort of call to action. But if it's just sort of unilaterally, the church, like everyone else, is having to take a step away from, social gatherings, for the sake of moving past COVID, then I wouldn't necessarily see that as much of a reason, for the quote unquote civil disobedience that you said.
I mean, it's crazy out there, just everything that's going on for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh, did I cut you
Well,
off?
I just thought that would be. I just thought that'd be an interesting. Oh no, I might have been delayed a little bit. I just thought to ask. I agree with you philosophically. My gut says that we'd probably be thinking differently having gone through it. If it truly went on for a period of time, I don't know if our ideals
True.
would hold so much. But
For me, I would say I feel like we're getting close, but it's also hard to say as a Texan, because we were one of the first ones to open up, and it was a very controversial decision. But overall, it seems like, I mean, our cases did spike a lot, but then personally, my life hasn't changed that much. Like, and it has been
Same.
nice to be able to, my wife and I have gone out on a couple of dates since then, and we wear our mask into the restaurant, and we're able to eat our food. And I mean, we haven't gone to see a movie yet. That's still a thing I miss. But for me, it would be if we got to a point where we're fairly certain that either the amount of cases is going down, or we really do have a good handle on how to treat it, and we also know more about the long-term effects of it, because that's something I think is important as well, where there's some weird stuff where just because somebody got better, but there's signs that it could have caused permanent lung damage and stuff like that. And so for me, it would have to get to a point where I feel like science and our doctors and everybody else is telling us it's okay to go back to normal, and the government is still saying no, you still have to stay at home, you still have to obey all of these.
So that's a
mandates.
great thing. You mentioned doctors. Like, man, I've looked all over the place. Like, I try to stay educated. I haven't. The good thing about being out here in Stephenville is that there's so many nursing students and stuff like that, and people that are just in that field, that I feel like I can have a personal connection to bounce things on and get their vantage point unbiased and stuff like that. But dude, like, if you even just talk about doctors right now, you get so many different stories. Like, what did you guys think about all of the stuff with the frontline doctors and all of the concoction that's supposed to take care of everything?
yeah, I was gonna bring that up and transition to, I heard this one lady who seemed to have some really good ideas. More so on her other stuff than the COVID stuff. But yeah, what is this lady's name again from the videos going around about?
Stella Emanuel, is that her name?
Yeah, there was
So-
a number of them. There's more like it's
Yeah.
a group of doctors, but she's kind of been pushed to the forefront.
Right. I'll be honest. I don't really know much about what she said about COVID, but her other stuff is, well, that's a trip to go down. If you want a YouTube rabbit hole, that'll really mess with you.
Yeah. My initial reaction to it is like, so I mean, when the pandemic thing came out a couple of months ago, I initially just saw it and was super skeptical of it, and I was like, who is this lady? What is she talking about? And if you look her up, it's like, oh, okay, she writes, she's an anti-vaxxer and she writes conspiracy theory books. And I'm like, okay, so it kind of makes sense, the narrative.
Sounds reasonable.
Sounds pretty similar. And so that was my initial reaction to it. I've tried to keep up with just, different scientists and doctors and what they're saying about the treatments and stuff like that. And so apparently vitamin D is like super important. That's one of the things they've confirmed, that there's like an alarming number of people who are in ICU who are vitamin D deficient. And they've linked that to how well people fight off the virus, and also, the people that contract it. But the hydroxychloroquine one has been one that I've heard some good things about, but I don't think to the level that they were claiming, where they're claiming that this is a cure. And just from what I'd seen and heard, and again, I'm not an expert on the subject, but that it was like, yeah, no, some people it seems to work really well, and other people it doesn't seem to. So it's kind of inconclusive.
Now, I know we're not trying to go super long into this, but do we have enough time to address the demon sex from
I'm
from
gonna.
what this lady's
I think
said,
I'm
or-
gonna go ahead and say no.
Okay, I just want to clarify. That's what this lady that everybody's posting about. Her most famous stuff are sermons on the various medical ailments that can come from having sex with demons in your dreams. I'm not making that up. All right, can y'all confirm that so people don't think I'm crazy? Y'all see, we've seen
No.
some videos, right?
The YouTube link in the
No, what?
comments.
Yeah, for some reason it's just not working. I don't know why. I think regardless of if we you agree with her or not, I think we can all agree her production value
spot on. Oh, high tier, way up there. It's a piece of work.
Yeah, I don't know. So Ben, what did you think when you saw it this week? I mean, because I really didn't know what to think. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that blew up real quick. That became like the number one thing I saw on my social media feed.
Are you asking what I thought of that, or what I just saw on social media? Because I saw a video of a bear breaking into a cabin. That was interesting.
No, I'm just saying, like in regard, like that story. They had that. I forget where it was. That they had their presentation, but like it became the number one thing I saw on social media.
Yeah.
What I noticed was the number of people who posted something about that, found out about her, and then that post was somehow gone.
Same thing with pandemic back in the day.
Yeah, no. I wasn't saying it was a post that was gone because Facebook took it down. It's because they realized that they blindly shared something because it was giving the information that they wanted.
Exactly.
And so,
that happened with pandemic as well. There was some that it got taken down because they claimed it was false information. Other people they looked more into what this lady was saying, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna retract that.
Yeah.
everyone thinks there's this conspiracy against censorship whenever something that they like gets taken down, but whenever it's something that they
because that's
hate
true, Ben.
taken down, that they
Yeah.
usually find. And so usually the people who I hear who are upset that it seems like this lady's ideas are being censored are the people who have already blindly decided to blindly is a strong word, who have wholeheartedly chosen to believe that something to the effect of COVID's overrated, that this is all some sort of conspiracy, that there's a cure out there, and that big pharmaceuticals don't want you to take it. Like I something in that whole category, people are all already kind of sold out to. And so they are going to back this person and share the video, even if they don't watch it. They see a person in a lab coat and they're like, science. And so they're a big fan of that person. And so with little or no qualifications, if you can find someone who is going to back up and validate something that you already believe, you will not likely fact check that person at all. But fortunately, the internet will do a lot of that for you, and then you'll find out about the things that you mentioned, Josh. So
Yeah.
Yes, and we should say, if you want to, it's one thing to accept what she was saying about COVID. I would just suggest to anybody who wants to do that, no thoughts either way on it, but maybe find a different spokesperson. Again, look at her YouTube channel. It's Have a
And
fun
next time-
afternoon.
Next time this pops up, it's okay to take 10 minutes to figure out, is this person actually a doctor, for one? And then maybe just do a little bit more background research on who they are before just, clicking the share button. Because I saw a lot of people who shared it and then retracted it very quickly after that when they found out that she also thinks that the vaccine that's going to be developed for COVID will alter your DNA to make you not believe in Jesus, and therefore will be the mark of the beast.
Well, now that
I
part,
can't say that
I'm
that's
still
not
thinking about
gonna
it.
happen, but I'm a skeptic at heart, though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
posted one of my most liked posts in recent past was it was Proverbs 18:13
Like 8
spouting.
people like it.
Yeah, right. So it
Yeah.
doubled my usual likes. Spouting off before listening to the facts is both shameful and foolish. And I posted on there. I was like, "Come on, like let's be honest. We've all had that knee-jerk share before that we're like, oh no, how soon can
Yeah.
I get to my phone to take that down?"
I'll
but
say
I
I've
think
been
that-
there. Never with the demon sex lady, but
What?
I've been there. Yeah.
Can you guys recall something that you guys have shared and been like, "Oh no, didn't look into that fully"?
I have one. I can't remember what it was, but I remember the feeling of when somebody commented on it and called it out, and I did a fact check, and I was like, "Oh crud, he was right." And yeah, immediate delete. But hey, a good life
Yeah.
lesson though, because now I'm like, okay, I agree with this, and I like where this is going, but let me just take a second to fact check and make sure that I'm not just posting something ignorantly here, so I can avoid that again.
I don't remember a whole lot of those. I just remember getting tired of sharing very much on Facebook, not because I didn't necessarily believe in what the article was saying, but just because the comments that showed up very quickly proved to me that not a dang soul read the thing I shared. They read the headline and then they quickly criticized it and tried to knock it down. I had one person who they said that they hated the article. They didn't read the article. They didn't even click on it. And then they criticized it. I go, well, did you even, try to read it? And they're like, no, I don't like the person who wrote it. I'm like, how do you know the person who wrote it when you didn't even read it? And so it's things like that I don't usually even share much anymore because Facebook and Twitter are a tire fire that people yell at.
Well, the
Exhibit A.
Yeah, getting closer out. So we had talked about this earlier in the week, and we thought it'd be fun just to kind of like just to make, again, not to lighten the severity of any of the stuff we're talking about, because we are talking about human lives and people. I think people for the most part are well intended in where they fall, but like Ben, you had come up with a couple of like headlines, right?
Look at you, master of segues. Look at that.
We're gonna end our time today. And side note, just for anybody that is that is here and watching, like what this is supposed to be. These are three of my best friends, us four just hanging out, and every week just wanting to talk about things that do and don't interest us throughout the week. So just talking about current events, things like that. Who knows where this will go and what'll end up happening. But that's all this is. Four guys, and these are the things that have interested us: sports and COVID.
Yeah,
yeah, sports and theology this week. So it's been a fun time. But Ben, you've got us a couple of headlines that we're going to play a little game.
Yes. So
real or fake?
Each week, one of us will have a thing like this.
Yeah, I mean, just like
no
here's the thing.
promises.
No promises. Let's not. There's a reason this is just on a personal profile instead of like an actual page right now. So
Yeah.
who knows what it'll be? Like, I would love to bring people on and talk about things that are current and relevant and stuff like that. Fun, serious, whatever it is, everything in between. But like, you guys are wondering who we are. We're just four friends, four dudes talking about what was on our minds this week.
Or
So,
one comment said four beards. I like that. But
yeah.
okay. So I've
Trying
got
to get there.
9 headlines. Some of them are real, some of them are not real, and then some of them are kind of real. But we'll say that they're false, but there's a grain of truth in them that is kind of interesting. So it is up to y'all to determine whether or not you think that this is a real or a fake headline. All
if
right?
you're watching, you should play in the comments too.
Yes, fair enough. All
Yes.
right. We'll start off strong. Florida man.
Oh, here we go.
Oh no. True, real.
True, yeah.
He did it.
Florida man uses $3.9 million in fake COVID loans to buy Lamborghini.
What is a COVID loan?
So apparently
no.
you can take out.
Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna be like, I was gonna say let's just vote and then figure it out. But
I vote true.
Okay. Yes, real.
thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm going real.
It is real. Bought a blue Lamborghini.
Florida.
What does that say about us?
No, what does that say about Florida?
Yeah.
Who knows? But they're taking care of the NBA right now, so
Yeah.
please
True.
be okay.
Not Lou Williams, though.
Yeah, apparently COVID loan, like people can get certain loans for themselves or for their business to help offset financial losses due to COVID. And he got $4 million worth of fraudulent loans and then got arrested. And I think they took the Lambo. So sad day for him.
Bummer.
Okay, here's another one. Australia pub bans messy emus for bad behavior.
I want that to be true.
I'm gonna go with true. Yeah.
I'm gonna go true too. It's too weird, too obscure to be just fake headline.
No. I'm switching.
All right, it's true.
Ah, dang it.
Apparently, just some emus in the outback were not being very
Yeah, Beck.
clean in the outback. Shrimp bag. No, that sounded more like Boston. Australian pub just had to ban the emus, which tells me that were these emus regulars already? I don't know. Australia's weird. Okay. Woman suffocates on still moving octopus tentacle at sushi restaurant.
So the strip,
Just go with your gut.
no.
So she choked to death on the tentacle, but it was still
So have
moving.
you ever seen like when they eat sushi and like the tentacle is still moving?
Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah.
don't tell us, because now you're making this more believable, and they were going to go false.
I'm going false.
I'm going false.
It is false.
Oh.
Isaiah, you're not good.
See, when he starts off with two true ones, you know he's not going to start off with three in a row.
I thought he was going to go.
So-
I thought he was going to go 3. I thought he
I
was going
kind of
for
was
the.
semi-convinced that what if this is a bit and every single headline Ben brings up is true?
Oh, I was thinking of doing that. Housewife sued for selling homemade hand sanitizer after customers suffer chemical burns.
If it's not true on that article, it's true somewhere.
It's probably true somewhere, but I didn't see it. It's false.
What up?
True somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You would
saw
think-
that article. There is a woman who was making her own sanitizer. So I that was
Sure
true.
you did,
I'm
Devin.
gonna look it up.
Sure
I'm
you
gonna
did.
look it up.
Okay, I'm gonna just kind of do this one and then land on one and see where it is. Okay. Alaska town mourns death of its mayor, a cat.
I'm going true.
I'm doing this because I want it to be true.
I just don't want to get further behind in the points.
So it is
Score?
false.
Oh,
Dang it.
But here's the grain of truth. There was a town in Alaska that had a mayor that was a cat. There was like 800 people in the town. They're like, we don't care. And it died in 2017. But it was also like a 20-year-old cat. And so like
you know, that's kind of my ideal government, is something that doesn't really care about anything that's going on and minds its own business. So yeah, I'd be down for a cat as a mayor.
Alaska, Josh.
Yeah, maybe I
okay.
will. Yeah.
Okay, Ben. So technically, I guess you're right, but March 11th, 2020, 7-Eleven owner in New Jersey sued over making hand sanitizer that burned the hands of 4 children.
Devin, no one likes a
Give
sore
me my
loser.
point.
Was that fact check that important to you, Devin?
Was because I knew.
Hey,
it.
look.
That's the only reason I gave an instant thumbs up. I was like, I saw that article.
That's relevant to the topic of today. Doing your fact checks.
Here's one. 2 groups of counter protesters fight each other while original protesters egg them on.
I'm gonna go true, and I'm hoping it's literally egged them.
I'm going false.
It is false.
Ooh, wow, I am on fire.
There was an altercation between counter protesters and real protesters in Weatherford over a Confederate statue, but
That's right down. I mean, that's
You're northern.
just up the road from where I'm at.
Josh, are we tied?
I've missed one. How many of you missed?
I missed 2. Well, technically, I've only missed one.
I'm just
No,
gonna sit back
no,
and-
no. I knew you'd go there. I am winning.
Jamaican man wears Darth Vader costume to collect lottery winnings.
Please be true.
Hon, if it's not true, it's going to be like he wore an Iron Man costume.
I don't know. He hasn't gone with the tricky stuff. It's either yes or no.
You just chose no because I chose yes,
I
Devin.
did. It's
That's the only way you can tie it up.
Come on.
It is true.
Dang it.
Ooh, yes.
Took a risk.
I thought about doing.
That's
like
what you
a-
get, Devin.
Hey, gotta risk it for the biscuit.
Okay. Farmer returns prosthetic leg that skydiver lost during jump.
This is between y'all.
I want to believe that that's true, just because it's so wholesome.
It is true. Some good news today.
Wow.
Nice.
California City, nicknamed Hangtown, will vote to remove noose from its logo.
Hopefully true.
Jeez.
Josh is
I'll
deciding
go-
whether or not he wants to play the game or he wants to like.
It is true.
Oh man. I was just hoping that
But
there
it-
wasn't a place called Hangtown with a noose in its logo.
Now, it's Placerville, and there is a noose hanging from a tree in the background of the logo. And the history on that
Oh boy.
is that apparently that this town that they just in like a Wild West capacity were just having like justice on justice on justice, and so they did a lot of hangings in that regard. But it was the way they were still doing.
Still a
was-
little weird. Still a
Still-
little on the dark side of things.
Oh yeah, because they any time of day in one of the towns, one of the buildings in town, they have a dummy hanging by his neck from the front of the building, and occasionally like someone will steal it, and they have to and instead of being like, oh,
Steal
maybe
it
we
or
should
free
do
him.
that.
It's
They
like
just-
that racket Clint Eastwood was running in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Tuco. You guys,
No,
two-
gosh, I got it.
yeah, okay, thank you. I'm like, it's a very classic movie. You should understand it.
Oh man. Well, that was
that's
fun. So,
all I
Tuco
had.
from
Do you
Breaking
want
Bad.
me to have one more to break the tie between you and Devin?
they're not tied. Devin was back.
No,
2-2.
I'm like up by 3. I dominated. I only missed
No,
2.
No,
Josh.
Yeah.
Josh
You're
won
by
by 1, I think.
Yeah.
It felt sizable to me, you know.
Well, you don't
That's
get
awesome.
anything.
There that I'm not going to make.
Can we keep track of the games we do and who does best? That might motivate me to actually do this again.
Yeah, we'll do a weekly game, and then Josh is up 1.
Really, I just wanted Josh to win after Devin went so far as to Google fact checking that one fake headline.
Yeah, that's a little over the
You
line.
know what? I'll protest that to the day. I
Devin's the guy that
Technically
like
died.
Devin's the guy that like at trivia night, you know, that you've put hours and hours
Huh.
into, decides that he wants to like cause an uproar because you were wrong about one of your trivia questions, even though it was evenly like judged across the board and had no bearing on the eventual winner.
100%.
I'm not.
I'm a terrible loser. Ask my family.
So no, that was more.
We're your best friends. We don't need to ask anybody about it. We
Fair enough.
more than aware.
Oh man,
Remember the Super Smash Bro days, guys?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
dude, how cool would it be? So whenever we can, like get together, like we should do an episode where we get together and we just play Smash.
Down.
And do these conversations.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be.
Yeah, but it has to be the most serious topics we ever have, so we're all super distracted and like
Yeah.
making just the
Oh,
worst
man.
answers ever.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's good.
I'm not sure
Awesome.
if that's gonna just be a train wreck or if that would be really entertaining. But
Train wrecks to.
I feel like we'll be really entertained by Devin.
That'll be
but
the day that like something slips because we're only
Oh,
like half
all
engaged
right.
in the conversation.
Maybe we don't do that one live. Maybe we record that one and edit it.
run on a 20-second delay.
That's like
with a
Conan
belt
O'Brien.
line, just to mute it for a second.
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien has that segment where he'll play games with like celebrities and stuff like that, and you
Oh,
can
that's one of
always
his
tell.
best bits.
Yeah, you can always tell which ones went really well and which ones like didn't because you know clearly they play for an hour or whatever, but sometimes those bits are a lot longer or shorter depending on the kind of. And I just imagine some of the stuff that got cut out was cut out because they had to like people were rage quitting and cussing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Well, that was fun. That was fun times.
I guess.
Hey, for anybody that's watching this right now or watching later, we'll be doing this. Did we say weekly? Is that what we agreed on?
Yeah.
Sure.
And I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah, so we'll be here next Friday at noon. We'll probably eventually create a Facebook page to stream this on, but you know, if this sucks, then there's no need to go do all that stuff. So let us know what you think.
If
Leave
this
a like
sucks, more like
as
it's-
opposed to
it was kind of a joke. Like, yeah, this is
Oh,
a bad
yep.
show.
way to
good.
fart
And
out.
now, yeah, wait for that to be the thing we end on today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need a sign off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's not do one now. Well, I don't know. Do you guys have an idea? You can trial them, test them.
What?
Not that's not plagiarized.
A sign off?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
you know, like a
like stay classy, San Diego.
Yeah, exactly.
That's literally the only thing. I can think of one other, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. All right. Well, then we're just gonna go ahead and end it. If you guys have if anybody that's in the comments, if you guys have any things that you guys think we should talk about, anything that interests you in the week, let us know. We'd love to bring people on, get people's takes on things. It's going to be a fun
Where would
time.
they fit on the screen?
We'll figure that out if it ever happens.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I roll.
You know how
Roll
Zoom
with the
works,
punch.
right? You can add other people. Like they have their own screens.
Look at the special little thing that Isaiah made for us, though. That's what I'm talking about.
I'll just have to make
Where
another
do
one,
we
Make another square.
take even?
another square, and they would be the special guests. So we would all go to the corners, and they would be.
Oh, and they'd be in the center.
Oh, wow, okay.
That might be weird though, depending on the
We
topic.
could make it a roast. Then it would be more natural.
Right now, we are that pastor that won't land the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been quiet for a while.
In closing.
Just rare. Ben.
All right, guys. Well, I will see you guys next week. And for everybody watching, thanks for jumping in. Thanks for commenting and liking. We will see you guys later.
All right. Bye.